What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Talk Punch. My name is Brody Hanson, here with Charlie Hickman. And
How's it going,
today,
bro?
oh, it's good. How are you doing?
I'm a little curious as to why you appear to be submerged in total darkness.
I had some electrical issues over the weekend. My wife was vacuuming, and then she said, "Hey, the vacuum stopped. I think it's broken." And then I plugged it into a couple different outlets, and then it started working. And I said, "I think it's the electrical box." So I went down and checked the breakers. Breakers were fine. But then I pushed the test button on one of the breakers, and it made a pop sound, and a little bit of smoke came out. And I said,
That's what you always want.
that needs to be replaced. And I don't want to do that because that's electrical box stuff. So that's where the home warranty comes in. So
have you ever had a good chunk of electricity race through you before?
I try to avoid it.
It's nice.
Try
Once or twice, man. It's pretty good.
So while I'm waiting for the home warranty to get an electrician out here, 2 rooms in the house don't have electricity. One of them is my office, which is where I am.
Nice.
So I have the super classy extension cord running from my office downstairs, taped along a wall to an outlet that I know works.
That's pretty great.
You know, I do
such dedication.
I do work from home, and so I do need I need that electricity for the computer.
Nah. Oh, that's great, man. Well, hey, thank you for still making the effort to be here and to do this with us.
I feel like I am in a cave, but hey, at least there's some light.
Beer pop.
It could, all the gray. Could have been worse. I could have not had a light at all, and then we just would have done an audio podcast, I guess, or a video podcast with just you and maybe a picture of me.
Hey, just me and my beautiful Batman background here, my wonderful room.
I know.
All lit up nice.
It's great. It's a nice room.
Love it.
So,
what are we talking about today, B?
Today, if anybody's listened to our after shows, you've heard me talking about Zelda, because I'm playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's going pretty good. Going much better. I was struggling for a bit. Wasn't sure if I liked it. And then I just kind of got into the groove. And so now I'm enjoying it.
Good.
We've been talking about Zelda some. So we thought, you know what? Let's talk about some video games. We've been talking a lot about movies lately. So let's change it up. Let's
change it up.
Let's try some new stuff. We're still experimenting with formats. So let's try some video game conversation. So we thought, what do we talk about? Video games. Favorite video games all time? Ranking the video games? I don't know. And we came up with consoles. So you and I have been playing video games for a very long time. Very long time. So we have played a lot of video games on a lot of different consoles. So we thought, you know what? It might be kind of fun to kind of take a stroll down memory lane, kind of talk about some of our favorite games on each of the consoles. Luckily, our console history lines up pretty well.
Does. I mean, to be fair, we did live together for a pretty large chunk of time. So
it's true.
We shared consoles.
We did. So to get right into it, Charlie, what was your first console?
I have an older sibling. I know you also have an older sibling, but I do. Did your older sister play video games at all?
She did not. No, she didn't. Okay. Not at all.
So I had an Atari that I kind of inherited. And actually we had ColecoVision at the house.
Okay.
I was on the young side to really understand what a lot of that worked, but I did grow into the Atari. The ColecoVision we had a couple of games, but I feel like maybe that got phased out by the time I was really getting into video game age. There were no games for it, and really Nintendo was pretty much kind of knocking at the door right then anyway. But so I did have an Atari, and I remember my only real memory of Atari is that there was a baseball game that when you held the joystick and you pressed up and the button at the same time, you were guaranteed to hit a home run. So I play with my play with my sister or with friends or whatever, and I just kind of load the bases and then grand slam and then load the big grand slam, and
oh man,
it was it was I guess Asteroids too. Maybe played some Asteroids, but I don't have a lot of Atari memories. I was very young and so didn't play a lot of that. So. But so Nintendo was really my first, like, my console. It was like the one that I chose and had like all my heart games on it. What about you?
We had a system. I'm not even sure what it was. But it was something that had like a couple of these big chunky cartridges. And there was one game where you were a guy that was jumping over like goats to get up to the top of ladders and stuff like that. And
was
then
the controller like a remote control with like a knob on it?
I don't remember what the controller was. It's possible. It was a long time ago. And then there was
that might have been ColecoVision.
There was Missile Command, where like you were shooting the blasts up to the missiles. And I think those are the only two games that I remember. It could have been ColecoVision. At that point, I wasn't really paying attention to what it was. I was just like, it's a video game. And so I just played those over and over again. But similar to you, yes, kind of Nintendo was kind of the start of things, where that was, where I kind of really experienced, the Mario running and jumping and things like that, the typical kind of platforming things that we've seen progress throughout all of the consoles and things like that. So Nintendo would kind of be my first real one, renting a lot of video games. So
renting,
yeah, I know. I used to go to a video store and rent a video game.
Never heard of it.
So with the Nintendo being your first one, what were some of your highlights? What were some of your main games on that Nintendo? The Nintendo Entertainment System.
So just to get this out of the way, because hey, no judgment here in video game land. I still have my regular Nintendo, and I've got like a box full of games still. And this will be a common theme as we go through our consoles. Outside of the aforementioned Atari or ColecoVision, I still have every console I've ever owned. So as we go through these, I actually have like boxes of a lot of these games, either in attics or garages. But I have played my original Nintendo within like the last 5 years. Pulled it out and showed the kids some of like the old NES games, like the one that the Mario was like the first, like Mario Duck Hunt. Yeah. But specifically the Mario game was the one that I just kind of lost hours and hours of my life on. I remember, I have vivid memories of like staying, like Christmas Eve, I got Mario 2 as like from Santa, and I came home and my parents like, go to bed, you play it tomorrow, because we were at my grandparents' house, so I got home late, and so I kind of waited until everyone else was asleep, and then just like I pop it in, because it was in my room, so I was like, oh, what are they, so I pop it in at like, must have been like 10 or 10:30 p.m. and I just played for like hours. So even when I was like 8 or whatever, I was still kind of a bit of a night owl, a little nocturnal, and I just that one. No, not much has changed. So those are like the Mario games, the Zelda, the first Zelda, which caused me to have my first rage. There's a crack in my Nintendo from where I threw a controller at it when I was a kid, because I'd been playing this game for like just an endless amount of hours, and then my save was gone. My save was just gone. I don't know if you ever had that happen to you, but this is. If you'd ever played the Nintendo, like the save technology was very, and
didn't so the Nintendo cartridge have a battery in it?
It had like a battery. I don't know about a battery, like a chip.
I thought it had like a battery or something that enabled
back up.
That enabled it to save. Yeah, I could be totally wrong.
I lost a couple of Zelda games. My Baseball Stars games reset like all the time. It was very frustrating, because Baseball Stars was like the best baseball game in the world, other than the fact that I would start like this season and I'd be going, and all my save data would just be erased consistently throughout the years of playing. It was just very frustrating, because you're building stats and doing all this fun stuff, and the game was pretty awesome. But man, save technology. and checkpoints. How great are checkpoints?
Oh yeah.
Because I think the most angry I've ever been playing a game was probably Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo
NES. The first one is still one of the hardest games.
It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible to beat that game. There were games I thought were hard, and that I specifically pulled out in like my 20s or 30s and put on my Nintendo.
I remember we went through Turtles.
Easy.
We went through Turtles when we were in our 20s.
You got like a Game Genie and put it on with the cheats, and it was still hard. Yeah. Even like unlimited lives. Yeah. Ridiculous, that game.
I've watched people on YouTube that have done like speed runs of the Turtles game, and I watch it and I'm just like, no, I'm still convinced it's impossible.
They're cheating, Brody. They're cheating.
Even the things that they do, I'm like, I could never do that. It was always the jump, that one jump in the sewers. You go down in the sewers, and it's that one jump that if you don't hit it perfect, if you go too hard, you fall in the water. If you don't go enough, you fall in the water. It was so hard. That game, that one. And really, I was a fan because around that time I was big into Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles was the thing. And so, to be young and to get that first Turtles game was a thrill, and was just always disappointing because I was so bad at it. And then, Turtles 2 and Turtles 3 went more of the arcade route. I enjoyed them, but it was Ninja Turtles, so I was enjoying anything that was Ninja Turtles. But
the farthest I ever made it on that game as a kid was the night before I had to go to outdoor ed. So I've got all my bags packed. I got to go to the mountains, and I'm just playing this game before bed, and it's past my bedtime. My parents are like yelling at me. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I made the jump. I'm a full level past the level after the jump. There is no chance that this game is getting turned off, and I'm just sitting there playing, just and then I died in level 5 or whatever. It was just so maddening, but
sure. Yeah. No, and I played a lot of the games. I remember playing Zelda. I remember renting Zelda and not understanding it at all. A sandbox world where you're just walking around. I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I probably didn't play it very much because I was like, I don't get it. Like this doesn't make sense. Where normally, you're used to Mario, you're used to Metroid and stuff like that, where it's, you go forward.
That's fair. It was so fun. When you got a little bit older, did you come back and revisit that?
I did. I did. Okay. Yeah. All
right. How did you feel about the second one? It was very different.
It was different. That went into like the side scrolling. Yeah, Link's Adventures or something like that. Adventure Link. That kind of got into some of the side scrolling stuff, and it was different. And so then you play the first one and you're like, this is so different. I don't know if I like it. And then you play Zelda 2 and you're like, well, this is more side scrolling. I don't know if I like it. So it was, it's a gamer. You can't please any gamer.
Yeah.
So
I didn't have a good attachment to that game. Let me rattle off a few more games okay. All right. Did you ever have a Paperboy phase?
Oh yes. I did enjoy Paperboy a lot.
I wasn't very good at our local pizza place in the arcade. It was fun. What about Tetris? Was this the console that got you into Tetris, or was that?
This was probably the one that I first played Tetris, and I think I played a lot of Tetris, and which kind of led into a Dr. Mario thing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did you fall down on one side of the aisle on that, the Tetris versus the Dr. Mario?
No, I don't think I chose one over the other. I think I enjoyed the puzzle aspect of both of them, and so it was kind of like, I can play them both. But Tetris is, it's still a great game. I have like the Tetris on the PlayStation. The Tetris, what is it? What's it called? The one with the VR. Tetris Effect, and that's still fun. Tetris is still fun. It's great.
It is still fun. I still play for sure.
It is.
All right. What about Metroid?
Metroid, got into Metroid. I don't think I ever beat it. I had friends that beat it, but I don't think I ever beat it.
Brody.
It was
embarrassing.
Harder.
Embarrassing that you're admitting that.
Yeah, I know.
Metal Gear. Metal Gear.
Never did Metal Gear. I never did. I think I might have played it at like a church overnight thing one time, but
okay. Yeah. Weird thing to play there. All right. What about Mike Tyson Punch Out?
Oh, I loved Punch Out. That was another one that I never beat. I could get through. I think I could get to Mike Tyson, but I don't think I ever beat Mike Tyson.
Well, they had the codes, so you could like jump right to like in the Nintendo Power magazine.
Yeah.
So like you could like start right on the Tyson. But yeah, that was like pre-internet where you could just watch a YouTube video and be like, oh, okay, so just duck every time he does that.
Yeah.
You
had to watch it and you had to play and you had to lose a whole bunch before you figured out what they were doing.
I mean, so like I loved DuckTales. Come on.
Oh yeah. Oh, all the Disney ones. DuckTales was great. Chip and Dale. I have fond memories of like even the Lion King and Aladdin, which were kind of like at the end of the NES life cycle. I think at that point the SNES was either out or getting pretty close. So, but yeah, all those Disney ones. DuckTales, I even played. I bought it on the what I bought it on the PlayStation 3 or something like that. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4.
I made my kids play that. Yeah. It was on the PS3. They had it on the PlayStation Now subscription thing.
Something like that.
Or not now, excuse me, PlayStation Plus for that one. But yeah, so I made the kids play the DuckTales. Also a little bit challenging, but much easier as an adult. I like Top Gun a lot and Jaws too. Like as far as like some old Batman, the old NES Batman was pretty sweet.
Batman was good. Very hard.
There was a lot of like fun.
Yeah, it's interesting to think back how difficult those games were. Like as a kid, I played was it Ghosts and Goblins? I think. No, it wasn't.
That game was Wizards and Warriors.
The guy in the armor. I don't remember.
Castlevania?
No, I know. No, I did go through Castlevanias. Those were very difficult as well.
Do you still remember the Contra code?
I think it was, up, down, left, right, B, A, start.
Also select start. Come on, but you have to have a friend with you.
Also worked on the Ninja Turtle games.
Yeah. Oh, did it really?
Yeah, it was Konami.
Not the first one.
Not the first one. No, there was no code for the first one, unfortunately. But yeah, so Duck Hunt was another big one.
RC Pro-Am, Excite Bike, any of those like racing games? Did you get into?
Yeah, played RC Pro-Am. Really liked Excite Bike. Those. I spent a lot of time on Excite Bike.
Okay. I'm going to ask you about two that I did not ever get into, and I'm just curious if you ever did.
Okay.
Did you get into the Mega Mans at all, and the Kirbys?
Kirby, I did not. I think I might have like rented it and was like, this is fine. Mega Man, though, I did really, really like Mega Man. Went through, I think 1, 2, and 3 were all on the NES. Those were just phenomenal games. I loved Mega Man. They did the save data thing because they had like the grid of the dots that were essentially the codes, and so you could put those in, and the different combinations would be like, okay, you beat this person and this person and this person, or you just beat them all, and so that was great. Cool. I really liked Mega Man. I'm surprised that you missed Mega Man. How did you miss Mega Man?
I had a lot of random games that like I just loved and played a lot. I really got into a lot of the sports games, whether it was Tecmo Bowl or the various baseball games. I loved the ice hockey where you like got to choose like the skinny guy or the fat guy or the in between guy, and then I don't know. I played a lot of random, but like Mario 3 is probably the Nintendo game that I played the most. Love Nintendo Monopoly, by the way. Still to this day, if I have to play a video game version of Monopoly, that is the one that I want to play.
Yeah, gosh.
My wife and I in our courtship played that quite a bit. So.
We didn't even talk about Mario 3. Mario 3, man. I dumped so many hours, into Mario 3.
Yeah. That's got to be like up at the top of my all-time favorite game list. That was Just an amazing video game at the time. And Mario, I don't know, how'd you feel about Mario 2? Because that was kind of
it was the weird one.
It was really cool, but it was so different.
I remember playing it as a kid, and I was like, this is weird, I don't know about this. But then I remember when we were living together, you and I went through and we beat it. And I'm not sure if either of us had ever beaten it before that.
It's possible not. Yeah.
And so then we got to the end, and like we had a big group of people over, and they were all watching, and then we finally beat it, and then it was a dream. Spoilers, and we were all like,
yeah.
Are you kidding?
You gotta say spoiler alert first, and then you. Yeah, the
whatever.
Thing
the game is 35 years old.
Is it that old? It's not that old. Come on.
Probably. So, if you haven't played a 35-year-old game, I'm sorry that I spoiled it for you.
The first Mario was what, 85? So, gosh.
Was it? Right. No, it was earlier than that, I think.
All right, let's get some fact checkers in the comments, but I think it was about 85. So,
all right, well, that's
maybe 83.
So that's the NES. We spent a fair amount of time on that. We both, kind of started there, and there's a lot of games that we played. I mean, it was around for a long time.
Yeah, maybe we'll revisit this topic and do like a top 10 NES game list or something, because there's still games that we didn't talk about that I just absolutely loved. And it's
what games weren't good on the NES? Every wrestling game.
You didn't like Muscle? No. Like the tag team wrestling?
They were all bad.
No? Right.
I tried them all. Okay. I was so excited. They were all so bad. So after the NES, where did you go from there?
Well, NES and Genesis had like a parallel for me. So there's, roughly running at the same time. I don't know the exact years. I mean, NES was first, and then, but before there was SNES, right? There was Genesis. I should have looked up the console dates. I'm just remembering, at least in terms of my ownership, because I had the Genesis with like the.
I think Genesis came out, and then shortly after that, the SNES came out.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up real quick. So, why don't you talk about what was your second? console?
So similar to you, I went NES, and then I went Genesis from there. And then after that, I got the SNES. But the Genesis was such a step up from the NES in terms of graphics and what the system could do. One of the big things for me in getting the Genesis was to get the X-Men game, which, just the animations and the graphical jump from the NES into the X-Men game, I was like, this is so real, and I'm sure, you look at it now and you're like, oh, that's not a pretty game. But at the time it was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe what I'm looking at. There's just movements. If I just leave if I leave Nightcrawler sitting there, like his tail is wagging, and the background is forests and things like that. It was huge. And really the X-Men game was really the standout game of the Genesis for me.
Bro, I know you're a comic. Flash the tattoo.
No, that's Batman.
Oh, bro, you don't even know your tattoos. Come on.
I'm looking I have myself right there, so I was looking at the wrong side because it's mirrored.
That's fair.
All right.
So just for clarity, real quick.
Yes.
Nintendo released in 85. Genesis released in 89. N64 wasn't until 96.
That's not right. No, SNES, Charlie.
Oh, yeah. So no, it's right for N64 though.
And N64, yes. But we're talking about the Super Nintendo.
I'm just saying. 1990.
Yeah. So it went Genesis, and then shortly after that, just like I said, was the Super Nintendo.
Whoa. And just like I said, N64 was much later. And then Dreamcast was 98.
That is surprising to hear that it went that the SNES was the only Nintendo going for 6 years until the N64.
Yeah, well, that had a lot of, we'll get to that one. That had a lot of fun games. But So Genesis, you were an X-Men guy, and that was a cool game. It was no Sonic, man. You didn't fall in love with the little blue hedgehog?
Not quite. I enjoyed the games.
You got a dark heart, bro.
I know.
It matches the back of your room. You lost somewhere in here. Something popped, and there was smoke, and you didn't fall in love with Sonic.
I know. Hey, and the Sonic games were fun, but so often it was this real struggle between how quickly do I go through the level and like I really want to explore. And so, that was where my struggle with Sonic came from. I'm trying to think of what other games were big.
You play some Altered Beast?
I don't think I did Altered Beast. I don't think I did Altered Beast. I did
Golden Axe.
Golden Axe. That's the one. Golden Axe. I did enjoy Golden Axe. Just the beat 'em ups. And that's what it was great for, was the beat 'em ups. I think Maximum Carnage was on Genesis. The Spider-Man and Venom.
Okay. Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat 2. I bought Mortal Kombat 2 for the Sega Genesis, used at a Blockbuster. And when I bought it, my mom was like, "Don't tell your stepdad." But I had every fatality memorized. Oh, fatality. Man, I spent so much time in Mortal Kombat 2.
What about Mickey's Castle of Illusions? You ever get into that?
No.
That was fun. What about Michael Jackson's Moonwalker?
I did like Moonwalker. I never owned it. I think I played it at a friend's house, and that was fun.
Was it me? Because I owned that.
No,
it was good stuff.
No, I think it was like one of my older sister's friend's little brother. She had to take me along one time.
This predates Brody and I's brotherhood, so the Genesis.
Yes. So what were the standouts for you with the Genesis then? So you liked Sonic.
I loved all the Sonic games. Anything Sonic, I just loved. I loved Altered Beast, was really fun, and Golden Axe, all those ones. I liked a lot of the beat 'em ups and the fighting ones. Toe Jam and Earl making their appearance.
Toe Jam and Earl was a good one.
And Earthworm Jim, come on.
Earthworm Jim, I did like Earthworm Jim.
I love some columns too.
This is where like the wrestling games started getting better.
Was there a Genesis wrestling game?
There was.
That you liked?
Yeah.
All right. Tell me about it. I don't remember
it. It had like the Royal Rumble. And so you had, like it was the early 90s new generation WWF. So you had Bret Hart and Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels and IRS, all those guys. And so I really liked that game, and that was where you had a couple extra buttons, and so you were able to do some more moves, and you actually had finishing moves, and the people looked a bit more like the real people. And so that's where like the wrestling games really took a turn for me, where I was like, yes, I can't remember the name. It might have been WWF WrestleMania, I don't remember, but I remember at the time in real life, Shawn Michaels was the Intercontinental Champion. And so in the game, I won the title with Shawn Michaels, and then got a piece of Scotch tape and wrote Intercontinental and put it on the TV.
No, you're so cute. Oh, that's the cutest story I've ever heard.
So, but yeah, the wrestling games got good. I liked the wrestling games a lot.
Did you ever play Dick Tracy?
I don't think I did.
It's pretty fun.
I did play NBA Jam on the
hey, there you go.
Yeah, there's the sports game.
You can basically assume that on any of the consoles we talk about, I don't want to be like totally redundant, but if there was a sports game that was either basketball, football, baseball, or hockey, I probably played it, and then eventually fell in love with the FIFA games and probably played all of those as well. So I'd never got into racing games. So any of these consoles that we're talking about, with the exception of F-Zero, which we'll get to, I'm sure, and the Mario Kart, which we'll get to. Those are the only like real racing. I didn't get into like the any of the big. I did like RC Pro Am, I should say, but none of like the big like PlayStation ones or Xbox ones. So anyway, all right. So what about let's go to the next console here. Okay. So a little SNES.
Okay. I got that. I had been with the Genesis for a bit, and then picking up the SNES. I believe one of the big things that I wanted the SNES for was Link to the Past, Mario World, and the X-Men game. And so it was like X-Men Apocalypse or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was very similar to the Genesis X-Men game, but it had like some different characters. You could play as Beast, or you could play, was Gambit was in the first one. I don't remember.
I loved all these X-Men games. They were all great.
Yeah, they were great. I know that, and you'll probably be with me on this one. Ken Griffey Baseball. I really liked Ken Griffey Baseball on the SNES, where you could pick, just like you could like create a player, and you could create like this gigantic, big buff guy that I always named after comic book characters. So I had my team of X-Men in my Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball.
You're so cute. That's so funny. Yeah, I love that. Griffey was awesome. All the I don't know why I bought every single baseball game other than my love of baseball. Just for a little bit of context for you people who maybe don't know what a nerd I've been my entire life. I would sit in my garage as a kid with all my baseball cards, or just buy endless amounts of baseball cards. I would get lunch money from my parents and then not eat lunch, and then just pocket the money to buy baseball cards. And then I would just create stacks and teams. I would often fake sick on opening day so I could stay home and watch baseball. So yeah, basically, I mean, like literally, I think every baseball game that especially as we get into the older consoles, when I had more of my own disposable income, I would just buy them all. I'm more discerning now as a sage. We'll talk about some of the changes in our video game habits, I think, as we get into these older consoles. But yeah, but back then it was like, oh man, baseball guy in the front, let's do it.
Yeah. Yep. And then as far as with my evolution of wrestling games, that the SNES was where I played the WWF arcade game, which is where like the Undertaker would pull out like a tombstone and hit somebody on the head with it. Just weird stuff. It was a strange game. But
was that the one that was in the arcades? Like, is that why it was called arcade?
I think so. It also like wasn't at all like a wrestling game. It was really more fighting game than wrestling game.
Yeah. But because I played that or some version that's very similar to that in an actual nickel arcade a few years ago, back when those still existed. They had like if you've never been to a nickel arcade, there's like a $2 entrance fee or something like that, and then there's cheaper games. There's some that like are expensive, like they're like a quarter. And some are like all the way up to like 50 cents for like the newer shooters. And then in the back, there's all these old school arcade games that are free.
Just the free ones.
So, you play the old Simpsons beat 'em up, or the old, Turtles beat 'em up.
You and I spent a lot of time at the nickel arcades.
Oh, love the nickel arcade. It's a great, it's a great place to take a date. If they like arcade games, play a little pinball, a little skee ball.
Yeah, we don't have nickel arcades here. It's too bad.
Yeah.
If they exist at all.
Now.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know how many nickel arcades are going to survive COVID anyway. So, if they still exist.
So what were you into with the SNES then? Besides
Mario World.
World, yeah.
And Mario Kart was my first introduction to Mario Kart.
Yes, that's true.
And it was awesome. I think it was my the first console I owned a Street Fighter on. I played Street Fighter in the arcade. There was a 7-Eleven. So after school, I walk over to 7-Eleven, pop a few quarters on the old Street Fighter, and put the coin down, wait for the guy to finish his round, and then I'd always use Guile, and then you get to the corner and you just do those quick punches, and if they block, you throw them, and if they don't block, you sweep, and then people would get really mad. I almost got in several fights over Street Fighter when I was a kid, just because you can't do that. It's cheating. It's cheap. Like punch, throw, punch. But that's how you won. That's how you defend your machine, man. Anyway, so that was probably my first console that I owned a Street Fighter on. I really I did like the Street Fighter back in the day. F-Zero. This was the first introduction of F-Zero, right?
Yeah.
I did like that quite a bit.
Also, Star Fox. That was the first big kind of 3D Star Fox. Look at these crazy graphics that they're coming out with.
Did you play Mario Paint?
I did. Yes. I don't remember a whole lot about it. There was like you say it and I'm like, yeah, yes. I played that. What did I do?
That's a game that exists.
You painted. It had like a musical aspect to it. I think it had like a little animation aspect to it. I don't know. I played it. Don't remember much about it.
Let me throw a game at you that I never played, didn't know existed, but found and just kind of trying to jog my memory. This is not one that's in my attic of SNES games.
Okay.
Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars.
Yes. You
played that one?
Yes. It was good.
I didn't know it existed.
Yeah. It was I believe, and I am digging very deep here. It was kind of like the prelude to like the Paper Mario type of stuff.
Paper Mario.
I think it was like the turn-based combat and things like that. But yeah, I did play that.
I like Super Metroid was great too.
And so the SNES was where we got into all of the super, so we got it Super Metroid, which was awesome. Was it Super Castlevania?
Mario.
Did they call it Super Castlevania? Or was
if they didn't, it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah. What else? The Super Ghosts and Ghouls, Super Punch Out.
Yeah.
Everything, they took a lot of the popular NES games and boosted it and then called it Super. And so we had all of this Super stuff.
Some of them were more successful than others, I think. Did Pilowinks, right? Come on. Did you play the original?
I did play the original, which did get a pretty big revamp for the N64.
I love Pilotwings 64.
Pilotwings 64 was amazing, and we'll get there. But yes, the SNES one was much more, I almost want to call it simulation. I don't know how much of an actual simulation it was.
Fair.
But,
it was more. That's more of what it was. Yeah. Did you play the Final Fantasies? Did you get into the Final Fantasy games?
I did later on, and then kind of tried to go back to, because I think Final Fantasy 3 was the first one that was on the SNES. And then it just didn't catch me like the later Final Fantasies.
Yeah. It's hard to go back.
It is.
We'll talk about some of those like reverse. When you discover something late, I missed Final Fantasy on the SNES and Nintendo, and it was more like a PlayStation game, and it was hard. It's hard to go back. To go back.
But yeah. Since you mentioned it, the Super Metroid is a big highlight for me, that I could go back and I could play Super Metroid again. I think that is such a good game, and it takes that Castlevania style. You're exploring and you're opening up new rooms and finding new weapons that enable you to get into new rooms, and Super Metroid. And I love Super Metroid. So good.
Are we going to talk some Dreamcast quickly?
Well,
I can only remember two games.
N64 came out before the Dreamcast, so we'll get to Dreamcast, but I think we do need to hit the N64 first.
No, it just came out 2 years before. We don't want to talk about straight to Dreamcast.
What year did Dreamcast come out?
98.
Because
N64 was 96. Only 2 years before, I'm saying.
Well, there was the Sega Saturn in between there.
Oh gosh.
Which I didn't own. Which I didn't own. For as much as I like the Genesis, I think I went Genesis and then Super Nintendo, and then I actually sold my Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo in order to get an N64.
It's a good choice. Okay, all right, let's go 64.
Let's go
That's
64.
Just a longer conversation.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. 64 was a milestone in my life.
Yes.
So I don't know why my parents let me do this. I got the N64 for Christmas. It was sitting under the tree. But before Christmas, they let me rent the N64 system from Blockbuster. Yeah. Okay. And so I actually started playing the games, but all of my save data and stuff like that didn't carry over because it wasn't the same system. And also, it was like $25 to rent a system. It was not cheap. So
why didn't they just give you the system early?
I don't know, because I needed to open it on Christmas. But you talk about like a Christmas memory, that opening the N64 was probably like one of the best Christmas memories, where I knew what it was. I knew where it was. I got the system and then like 2 games or something like that, and it was, and that, kind of similar to jumping graphically from the NES to the Sega Genesis, where you're just like, how is this possible? Then going from the Genesis / SNES into the N64 in this 3D world was just, so it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Popping in Mario 64 and being able to move all around. It was wild. It was wild.
Yeah. If you guys go on YouTube, you can find video footage of Brody opening the N64 for Christmas, and he's screaming and crying. Type in N64 Christmas Kid. You'll find Brody there.
It's not me.
And him and his sister, for sure. Screaming. Oh, I can't believe it.
That's not me. I don't think video cameras existed back then.
Oh, they in the 90s? Yeah, they made movies and everything. So N64 was awesome, and it was probably my first like social console. And I had friends that I did have friends, a couple of friends, in spite of my baseball card nerddom and other quirks, that would come over and we would play some video games. But it's like 2 controllers and you're playing a couple 2-player things, and it wasn't like, didn't have like these real social games per se. And this, we get the 4 controllers. Although I guess the NES had that 4-controller pad that you could hook up, but I never had that. But you get your Mario Party was really fun, or like this, Smash Bros or Mario Kart. Like, it just
Mario
had these
Kart
games
on 4 players. Man,
oh, so fun. And probably the greatest Zelda game of all time, arguably the Ocarina of Time. I don't know where you come.
I still have my gold pre-order cartridge. It's still so good. And I remember ditching school just so I could play Zelda.
Yeah, that's my boy.
And so this is where you and my paths crossed, was during the N64 days.
Yeah.
I remember just going over to your house, and we would just play Mario Kart, and we would play
Star Fox 64.
Star Fox. What was the other one? I was just thinking of one, and then it just left me.
Well, I played a lot of GoldenEye 007, which was one of the greatest, first-person shooters, at least at the time. I don't know. I haven't played that as an adult. I'm kind of scared to ever go back and play it because I just have such fond memories of it. I'm not sure how well that's held up.
The Pilot Wings 64 that we kind of talked about, to get into Pilot Wings 64, where, battling the giant robot and just flying around and doing the parachuting and doing all this stuff. And it was, you know, we just ate it up.
It was fun. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there were other like group ones that we played a lot of. I don't know.
Well,
I played a lot of Paper Mario, but that's obviously not a very good like ensemble game. But that was a bomb game. It was fun.
Well, and so it was the N64 that we got, arguably one of the best wrestling games ever, in WWE, WWF No Mercy. And so you and I we played the WCW.
That game was fun.
WCW NWO Revenge. That then went into the WWF WrestleMania, WWF 2000. Yeah. And then we got No Mercy. And oh my goodness, the amount of time I spent on No Mercy. I mean, because you could slightly customize the existing wrestlers. And so we would watch Raw on Mondays, and then I would go in and I would tweak their costumes and I would change the titles so that the game perfectly reflected what was going on in real life. I treated it like an RPG, which
you did.
Wasn't, but it should have been. My goodness, that game was so much fun.
Was that the one where you so look, all these wrestling games kind of like, so remember I was talking about my baseball nerddom. Brody is the wrestling nerddom. And when we became friends and then family, it was just kind of like that. I adopted a lot of those wrestling loves, but I came to I liked wrestling as a kid, but I didn't fall kind of head over heels the way that Brody did. But seeing wrestling through the eyes of young Brody, it was fun. And what was the game that you customized all the intros for all of our friends? Was that on the next console that we'll talk about, or 2 consoles from now? Like you created every single one of our friends and gave them all unique entrance music, and
I think that might have been No Mercy.
Okay.
I think that was fun. I'm pretty sure that it was, because that's, No Mercy was around the time when there was just constantly people at the house.
Yeah.
And so I would just create people, and then I would, they would be over, and then I would start a wrestling match against them and just beat them with a chair.
I was going to say, you could always tell when Brody was mad at you, because you'd see him playing the game and he'd just be beating the crap out of your little avatar in there. Little Charlie's just getting a little jobber there on the ground, just getting hit by chairs and whatever else.
Yeah, no, that game.
Yeah, that console was fun.
There was so much good stuff on that console. It was a really good console. Banjo-Kazooie, man, we spent a lot of time on Banjo-Kazooie, which I tried to continue on with Banjo-Kazooie in later consoles and just couldn't do it. It was a good alternative to Mario. Mario Tennis, the Mario parties. Was it 64 that we got into the Mario Golf?
Yeah, I think so. It's got to be, right?
We did a lot of Mario Golf.
Yeah,
I mean, it was for being a golf game. I mean,
it was fun.
Man, we played a lot of Mario Golf.
Yeah. What did you think of The Legend of Zelda, like the Majora's Mask game?
I liked Majora's Mask. It was a little bit different. It was a nice sequel, and especially with how much I liked Ocarina of Time, I liked it. I didn't own it. I think because I was working at Blockbuster at the time, and so I just could rent things for free over and over again.
That was great.
I would just come home with stacks of movies.
Yeah. Blockbuster.
God rest its soul.
They could have bought Netflix.
So, but yeah, Majora's Mask was good. I don't think it was quite what Ocarina of Time was. Ocarina of Time was just so revolutionary in my brain.
Yeah. Agreed.
So what else for you stood out on the N64? What was there a lot of sports games?
Yeah, there's always random sports games. Was there a worse game that we spent more time playing than Wave Racer 64 or Wave Race 64?
Man, that game was weird. It was hard. You kept falling off.
I played it. It was fine.
But it was ski.
I don't know. I think back on that. It just I don't know.
It was fun. Yeah, I mean, it did the 4 players, and we played a lot of the 4-player stuff.
Yeah. We hit on the ones I think that are like the Rogue Squadron is probably one that we haven't talked about that I liked a lot.
Was that the N64?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah, I loved Rogue Squadron. I mean, A, it's Star Wars, and B, it's a flying game, which I love flying games.
Did you play any of the Pokemon games like for the N64? Yeah,
I didn't know that they came out for N64. I never got into the Pokemon games or anything like that. I didn't even realize that they came out for N64.
Yeah, I mean, like Dr. Mario 64, like some of those like Nintendo sequels, it didn't really land for me as well.
What was the Tetris one that we played a whole lot of? That was like Tetris Globe or Tetris World or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It was fun. We played.
It was fun. Yeah, some of those games just really didn't need a lot of like improvement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Tetris is just great. Like it doesn't need battle arenas, and I don't know. I just give me like give me the chill music and just let me go for however long I can last, and that's my good. I think, did we play Tony Hawk's Skater? Was this did you play that? Do you have a memory of that at all on this console?
Not on the N64. I can't remember which
console. I played a lot of Tony Hawk. I just don't remember if it was this console or not.
We played a lot of Tony Hawk, but I don't think it was N64.
That's fine. We'll talk about it later. All right. Well, let's get to everyone's been dying, just waiting to hear about Dreamcast.
Oh man, here we go.
Finally, going to talk about Brody and his Seaman.
Oh man, Dreamcast. So while I was working at Blockbuster, my manager came to me and he's like, "Hey, so I bought the Sega Dreamcast, but I don't really want it. Do you want to buy it off me?" And like the poor kid that I was, I said, "Sure."
Let's do this.
Sure.
I don't have a lot of money. Let's do this.
I don't have any money, but yeah, sure. I'll buy a console. I had a lot of fun with the Dreamcast. I still have my Dreamcast. I actually have 2. I don't know how that happened. I think I got one.
You have 2?
Yeah. And I still have all the games.
I never even known a Dreamcast. Did you buy me one and then just forget to give it to me?
No, because I bought the one, and then I think from an ex-girlfriend, she had one, and she's like, "Hey, do you want this?" And I was like, "Sure." Nice. I have another one. Why did I need a second one? I don't know. But yeah, so the Dreamcast, we actually played the Dreamcast a fair amount. Okay,
we did.
We played Crazy Taxi.
Crazy Taxi, a lot of fun.
I believe Dreamcast was what we played Siberia on. Do you remember Siberia?
I have that on my PS3 list, but it could be.
Was it on PS3?
It was on PS3.
No, the first.
No, I'm sorry. The original Xbox. Excuse me.
Okay, maybe we played it on that. I know that we played.
But we played it. We played the heck out of that game.
D2. Do you remember D and D2?
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. Like Crazy Taxi, I remember, and walking in on you with that little microphone,
Seaman,
talking to the little Seaman guy.
Let me tell you about Seaman. Okay,
we should just do a whole Seaman podcast because
Seaman.
It was
this was at the height
Seaman,
of.
By the way.
Yeah, this was at the height of the digital pet. The you would have, it was like the little egg thing, and you would take care of this little pet. And so this was that on steroids, where you get a tank and you get a little tadpole, and it's in water and it's floating around, and every day you have to check on it, and you have to check the temperature, and you have to check the cleanliness of the water. And then this thing evolves to the point that it grows a head. It's a human face on a tadpole. And then it starts talking to you, and it's got a microphone that you plug in to the controller. This is a real thing. It's real. And you can talk to the video game and it will talk back to you. And then it's
way ahead of its time, really.
It continues to evolve and eventually grows legs and becomes a frog. And you drain some of the water, so then it's got some water and some land. And then you have to feed it, and you have to continue to maintain. And every day you have to check in. If you skipped a day and then came back, he would get mad at you. And he would say, where were you yesterday? You know, I've been here freezing, or I've been here and it's been so hot, or I'm starving. And he would like chew you out because you didn't check in on him. And eventually, after, I don't know how many months, I don't know, maybe, he eventually gets to a point where he says, set me free, and you let him go. And then the game's over. But yeah, every day. And that's
the story of how I was born. I'm Brody's Seaman.
And I would sit and I would talk to this Seaman guy, and we would have conversations back and forth.
It was great. And we would have friends over, and sometimes they were not nice to Seaman, and Brody would get very upset because you could like flick him.
It's true.
And you could say you could say something mean to him, and he would get real mad and sassy with you. I'm sure, and maybe we'll try to link to one or two if we find some good ones. I'm sure there are videos of people who playing Seaman on YouTube. If you're just curious about this at all, it was ahead of its time, Brody.
Way ahead of its time. I don't think there's been any video game since where you're talking to the character. I don't know.
It had pretty like good. I mean, it understood quite a bit of what you would say to it.
It
all
did.
Things considered.
It did. Yeah. It was. Yeah. Boy, Seaman.
But yeah, you just walk in. I'd walk in a room and there's Brody just huddled over there with his little microphone. Hello, Seaman. How are you doing today? You look delightful.
You had to take care of him, otherwise he'd get mad at you. I don't want him to be mad at me.
I picture his voice being British, and I don't know if that was right.
No,
was like, oh, Brody, I'm a Seaman, and I don't like you right now.
No, cool. I don't think it was British. I think it was really monotone. But it did have Leonard Nimoy.
Like a John Cleese.
It did have Leonard Nimoy as like the title page, and he would kind of give you an update.
That's fair.
I don't know. It's so weird.
It was a weird game.
But Dreamcast, yeah. So Seaman, so Crazy Taxi, Sonic Adventure, I really liked.
You hate Sonic. You can't take it back now.
Sonic Adventure.
Rewind the tape. Look, in the comments, comment below. He hates Sonic. He's got a dark heart.
I do.
No good wrestling games for Dreamcast?
Not that I can really remember. There was.
I never played a baseball game on it.
Sprinkled throughout these consoles have been some really bad wrestling games. So there was probably some really bad ones. So, but yeah, so there's the Dreamcast. It kind of came and then it went, and it didn't do very well sales wise, and so there really wasn't too many games.
Yeah.
I did play a whole lot of Marvel versus Capcom 2 on that though.
That was fun,
and that was a really fun one. So, but so so after the Dreamcast, where did we go from there?
Probably original Xbox, right?
Did that go into original Xbox?
We didn't have a PlayStation 2.
We didn't do.
You had a PlayStation.
2. I had a PlayStation 1, and I really just did that.
My first PlayStation.
I did the PlayStation 1 mostly for. So real quick, PlayStation 1 was Final Fantasy 7, which was kind of the big Final Fantasy for me. I played that and spent a whole lot of time in that, and then I tried to go back to the SNES ones, and it just didn't work as well because it was Final
before.
Fantasy
so that was 94 when that was released. So the first PlayStation was before N64 and Dreamcast. Okay.
Yeah, so. I think I got the PlayStation 1 a bit later on in the life cycle. I got it even after I had the N64 for a bit. So I did Final Fantasy 7 on that. I did Castlevania Symphony of the Night which was amazing. I actually just replayed that like earlier this year on the PS4 because I was like, I really want to play that, and it was still really good. Yeah, really, really good.
What did you play it on?
Just the PS4. They just have it where you can buy it. No, I think it was like on sale, for one of their sales. So I think I probably got it for like $10, $15 maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, still really good. Oh, it was like the remake thing, and so it had 2 Castlevania games, and one of them was Symphony of the Night, and I was like, I want to play that.
So PlayStation 2, I think, came next chronologically, but let's just, unless you have some games on the PS2 you want to talk about, I just didn't play it.
No, we never really did much PS2. At that point, we were pretty firmly Nintendo.
Yeah, it was a weird time. It felt like you had to pick a side for some reason.
It did.
Like, and maybe that was just because it was too expensive to buy both and then to buy all the games. But I don't know. It was like owning an Apple and a PC. It just felt like, why do both? Why do I have? It's like having an iPad and an Android phone or something. But I did get over that rather quickly with and then started owning 3 consoles for whatever reasons pretty quickly after that. So
yeah.
Times they were changing. But
so I remember when we went to the original Xbox. I think you got it at like Costco randomly.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think it was kind of like, hey, we should buy this. We should buy this. And it was like, yeah, sure.
That came Xbox and GameCube were like a month apart maybe in release.
Were they really?
It was like both 2001, I think.
Because we had both of those. What do you want to talk about first? The Xbox or the GameCube?
Let's talk about Xbox. Yeah, let's talk about Xbox because we haven't really, it's new on the market. And it has maybe my favorite video game of all time was on the Xbox. Ooh. So.
And what is that?
Yeah, you have a guess?
Simpsons Hit and Run.
That was a fun game. That was a really fun game. No, that wasn't it. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh,
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic was like maybe the greatest video game of all time.
We did, and
my gosh,
we played that so much. I believe when we were playing, because it was just one controller. I think I controlled, and then you just told me where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you always wanted to be a Sith. You always wanted to give like the meanest answer. And I was no, we gotta be the nicest Jedi possible.
I did.
When it came to video games, Brody and I had he kind of had this Batman gruff to him, and I kind of was more on the Superman-y light side. I was like, no, let's save everybody, and every side quest, we must help everyone we can, and let's say all the nicest things. And Brody's like, why don't we just kill him with our force powers and strangle him right here? It'll be faster. And it was a really fun game, and you could choose.
It was so fun.
Those responses you could give. I think you can still play that on the iPad. It's in the iOS App Store.
I have it on my phone.
So I don't know if the game has been upkept. Is that up?
I think I had started it at one point. And it was just harder to do on the phone. I was like, I think this is a game I would rather play on like having a real controller, not like a little like virtual controller, and the text is really small and stuff like that.
Well, come over, bro. I have that game and the console still. Come on over. We'll play some Xbox.
Yeah, that game was unbelievable, and especially the story wise, where you have branching stories. The things that we would do would kind of change the game as we went. We could customize things. We could build lightsabers. We could go light side. We could go dark side. It had the RPG elements. It was just a massive game. And that's another one that we would have people over, and we're like, hey, come over and watch us play video games. And we would just have them like sit and watch us play Knights of the Old Republic. And then there was the big twist at the end, which, none of us saw coming, and it was like, what? So
the game was back back when you just thought this was the best Star Wars, like new Star Wars thing we're ever gonna get.
Yeah. It can't get any better than this.
It can't.
How can the graphics get better than this?
Maybe we were right. Maybe we were right. There's been some great Star Wars video games have been vastly superior to the Star Wars movies since the original trilogy, in my opinion. And the Clone Wars
we never even
was
talked
awesome.
about Super Star Wars, which were great.
Oh, well, yeah, it's not too late, I guess. We can.
No, we're past that.
All right,
we're into the Xbox.
Onward. But yeah, that's like there were some great ones too. Like I don't know if you remember Jade Empire. That game was.
Well, that was by the same developer, right?
Yep.
Wasn't it?
It
was BioWare. It was BioWare.
It was so good.
Yes.
So I Star Wars is my favorite, but like that Jade Empire played a ton. It was really fun. Fable was a lot of fun.
Fable, yeah. Perfect Dark. I know we played a fair amount of Perfect Dark with just kind of. Or was that 360?
Perfect Dark.
No, that was 360.
Right? Or 360?
No, I think it was 360.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know. What are you thinking of?
Okay. Well,
you might be thinking of Perfect. I think it was 360 that we played it on.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I played, I think probably my first real like extensive playing of Madden games was on the Xbox.
Okay.
Madden games were a lot of fun. MVP baseball I liked quite a bit. This is back when EA was doing like sports things right before like MLB The Show came out on the PlayStation, and that just like completely took over and dominated my baseball purchasing games. And that's with the exception of one that I'll mention later that you'll think is the worst game. It'll sound like the worst game to everyone out there, but I thought it was great. More to come, spoilers. But this was like I think this was the first console I think I played Prince of Persia on, and that was pretty fun.
Yeah, the first one I remember playing that.
Battlefront. We played a ton of Battlefront.
Oh, that was when the first Battlefront came out. Yeah, we played Battlefront 1, and then we played Battlefront 2. Because I remember Battlefront 2 was when they introduced vehicles, but you could only really do a vehicle in like the small little map, and so you get into a jet, and you're like, I can't go very far, but I'm going to shoot what I can.
Did you? What about? We haven't talked really about Ninja Gaidens. Gaidens?
I played it a bit on the NES. It's difficult. And then I'm sure there was a Super Ninja Gaiden that I might have played at some point. And then they got into like the more modern Ninja Gaidens that was that on the Xbox?
There was on the Xbox, and then there was also on the 360. So just depending on which version you're thinking of.
So those games were like known for just being devastatingly hard. And so I don't think I ever played them because I was like, I don't know that I want to play something. It's kind of like the modern Dark Souls games that people are just like, oh, they're so hard. And I'm like, I don't think I want to do that. I like a challenge, but I also like to be able to beat games.
Yeah, there's got to be a balance. It's got to be actually, it's got to be fun, right?
Yeah. So I never got into the more modern Ninja Gaidens.
That's fair.
What
am
else?
I forgetting?
What I can't remember.
I feel like this is where we played Siberia, but I could be wrong. Maybe we played that on.
No, and that's a good shout. It might have been Siberia on the Xbox where we did play that. Where
that game was fun.
It was fun.
As far as like a point and clicker.
For being a single player, that was a fun one to have a group around with, because you're going through, you're looking for things, you're solving puzzles. And that.
Did you play Halo 2 at all on the Xbox? Or I don't have any. I think Halo 3 was my first Halo on 360. I don't.
So you and I briefly played the first Halo.
But we didn't own it, right? Did you just get it from Blockbuster or something, or did we play it at friends' houses?
I think I was done with Blockbuster by that point because it had closed down. Somehow we played it. Maybe it got borrowed or something, but we did play it at some point. But it wasn't.
We definitely had a lot of friends into it, so
we didn't go through like the whole campaign. I know that for sure.
Yeah,
but we did play it some together, and that was a fun co-op one to go through. To go through together.
Yeah, we did kind of try to find a lot of co-op ones. I there's cross-platform games, and I'm not. This is where it's going to start to get a little murky with like some of these cross-platform ones where I'm not sure which console I ended up playing it on, and which was it a GameCube game, was it Xbox, and just some of those crossovers and things.
Yeah.
You want to talk some little GameCube?
So speaking of the GameCube, right around the same time we were going through the GameCube. Now, as far as the GameCube, my biggest memories are of the first party Nintendo games. So you and I went through Paper Mario, which I remember very vividly because we were going through Paper Mario when I started dating my wife. And so we were playing Paper Mario when she like called me to ask me if I wanted to go to the fair. And I was like we're playing Paper Mario. Do I stop playing Paper Mario to go
Just for the record, you heard it here that Brody's relationship started with a fair. Scandal. Sorry, go on. Yes. The very romantic Paper Mario.
The Orange County Fair, Charlie.
Excuse me. Wait, real quick. I'm sorry. We're going to pause here real quick and talk about Brody's crippling fear of Ferris wheels.
Yeah, I don't like them. Not at all.
You know what? We'll save that for the after podcast. Brody's crippling fear of
I'll tell you all about me going on the Ferris wheel just to impress a girl. Hey, it worked. She married me.
Hey.
And so I wept. I just wept the whole time. So I remember playing Paper Mario and thinking like, do I go out with this girl or do I continue to play Paper Mario? I chose the girl, but yeah.
Smart.
Hey,
best decision you ever made.
That's how good Paper Mario was.
It was really good.
It's a good game.
Oh my gosh.
So we had
Mario Sunshine was fun.
Yeah, we had Mario Sunshine, which had the squirting water, which
it was okay.
I think I think you made me play that one. I think that was one where you were like, Brody, you control and I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you where to go.
It was after N6, the Mario 64 was so good. Sunshine was it was fine. It was fine.
It was still.
You'd be willing to say it wasn't as good, right?
No, it was still good.
It wasn't as good.
You know what I did love that I think a lot of people weren't crazy about was the Mario Kart on the GameCube.
Oh, it was good. Double Dash.
It was the Double Dash. It was, and maybe that's because you and I were playing it together. I can imagine if you were just playing it on your own, maybe it was different. But I had so much fun where it was you and me, and you drove, and I controlled the weapons. And to me, that was so much fun. And I'm honestly surprised that they haven't put that option in any of the other games.
Yeah, it's a fair point. That was a lot of fun. I do remember we would play this into the wee hours in the morning. It'd be like 2 or 3 in the morning. We're playing Mario Kart, and then one of us, usually me, would fall asleep while driving, and the car, and still holding the button, so the gas is still on, and the car is just like against a wall, like revving, and then Brody would be like, "Charlie, wake up!
Charlie, we're on a wall. We're on a wall.
Your car's on a wall. Get up!" And it was Star Fox 64. Remember when you fell asleep and then you woke up and you're like, you got to put a rubber band around his neck and then it'll shoot him farther.
Yep.
That's the great Brody Star Fox 64 quote.
When you're hanging out till like 3 in the morning, and you just fall asleep sitting up, the mind will do crazy things. So
yeah, well. What else did you? So the Mario parties were a lot of fun, obviously.
So we got Mario Party. We played a lot of Mario Party. But also maybe the best on the GameCube was Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
Oh, that was really good.
Which I remember.
Did you like that better? What was better, Ocarina or Wind Waker?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
How can you choose?
How
Why
can you
choose?
choose?
Why,
How can
why
you
not both?
choose? You know,
Gosh, is the Zelda franchise the greatest franchise in video games?
It might be.
Or would you nod that to Mario?
I don't know. I may give it to Zelda. I may give it to Zelda.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like story goes, like Zelda, I think is way better than Mario in the stories that they tell. In you have this legend, you know, of a Link and a Princess Zelda, and you know, you can tell the same story. It's the same story over and over again, but they change it somehow in every game. And yeah, it's just great. I remember when we started Wind Waker and we were like, I don't know, it's really cartoony. Like, is this really going to be good? Like, it's a whole bunch of water, and then we just got sucked in, and oh my goodness, we spent so much time on that.
Good.
So much time on Wind Waker. But yeah, I remember we got a little bit into Metroid Prime.
Yes, that was fun. I'm thinking maybe this is the one where we played more. Like, there was Mario Golf for sure on the 64, but maybe we played more of the Toadstool Tour.
Did we? It's possible.
I don't know. We played them both. We played them both.
But yeah. Yeah,
what do you think of Twilight Princess?
So here's the thing is, you owned the GameCube. Mm-hmm. And I moved away around that time.
Yeah.
And so I missed Twilight Princess and I missed Skyward Sword. You know, I did, because those, so I never bought a GameCube on my own. And then I did get a Wii, but I was like, I don't want to play a Zelda game on the Wii.
Yeah.
And then and maybe, you know, we can touch on this, but I just skipped the Wii U altogether. So
yeah, me too.
So I never played those two, and I think it's something I would like to do if I can pick them up, you know, on digital copies for the Switch or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they available for download or anything?
Probably. You can get anything these days.
It's true. So I went Wind Waker and then went a long time without playing a Zelda game.
Yeah.
Were there any other? Huh?
I need to get a quick drink re-up. Can we take a quick pause?
Sure. Can I pause it? I don't know if I can pause it.
Or keep talking then.
Okay. I'm going to keep talking. So, Seaman. So he eventually turned into a frog, and then he would ribbit around, and you would have to continue to check on him, but you would also have to feed him. Where he was a tadpole, you just had to like drop food into the water. I believe once he evolved into a frog, then I think you would have to feed him bugs. And did he eat them with his human mouth? I can't remember. Now I know, and I read this much later on, that this was all controlled by the internal clock. And so really you could start the game and then save it and then go adjust the clock a day later. And so you could play the game a lot faster. I didn't know that at the time. I thought it was just smart and it just knew what day it was. But you could play. There's got to be videos out there someplace. But yeah, and I remember when I had to let him go. And it was very sad. And I wasn't sure if I should start the game over. Do you just start the game over and raise a whole new Seaman? Or is it kind of a play it once and then you're done? Like a legacy board game. You play it, and you enjoy it and you love it. And then when you're done, you're done. Maybe that's what Seaman was. I had heard rumors much later on that they were thinking about a sequel, but maybe it was because the Dreamcast kind of died away, and maybe they just didn't have the technology for later consoles. Though I would imagine that the newer consoles have microphones, because you can do video chat and audio chat through those. So that's what we need. We need a Seaman 2.
We sure do, bro. I've been listening to your Seaman, like your one-man Seaman show. It's been maybe I should just you want to just finish this off and just talk Seaman the rest of the time?
We'll do a live play one day. We'll play Seaman.
Okay.
There's content.
There we go. We'll go on Twitch and we'll just fire up Seaman. I can almost guarantee that there can't be people doing that. It would just be us.
Do you think Twitch is compatible with the Dreamcast?
I think you can, if you can figure out a way to get it onto your computer screen. If nothing else, you could do like the old, phone or something up to the TV kind of thing.
That would be bad quality.
We would probably attract an interesting crowd when they saw Brody streaming Seaman on.
It's true. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Okay, deal.
All right.
Do we need to talk more GameCube?
Was there anything else? Was there anything else that stood out to you on the GameCube?
I liked Luigi's Mansion a lot. I played that with my friend Katie quite a bit.
I didn't play that. You must have played that after I left.
I did. Yeah. You know what? This represents the sad time as Brody's getting ready to move to Nevada and leave me behind, and off spreading his wings in other areas of the world. And this is the saddest part of my video game history, where I went from nights where we're playing with 15 people to suddenly just feeling empty playing these games. Oh, sure, there were still people around, but it's never the same without Brody. Right here.
Well, so from there, we both ended up getting the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And so I remember I bought that after I moved in the hopes that we could play online. And we did, I believe, some.
Yeah. Played some.
We played some Halo 3.
Yep.
I enjoyed Halo 3. What was big for you?
We played some Gears of War online. Liked Gears of War a lot. So my buddy Dan worked at Microsoft during this 360 days, and he didn't play video games at all. So he would just, any title that Microsoft did themselves, I would just get for free, and like whatever the deluxe version of it was, he would just ship them over to me. It was glorious. This is all right. As far as like standout games, I think that this is back when we started playing the Arkham games, and it's another one where I'm not sure if I played the Arkham games, like the Batman Arkham games, more on the 360 or the PlayStation 3, but played them.
Now I know for a fact that I played this on the PS3. It's one of the reasons that I bought the PS3 was because you got the exclusive like Joker level or something like that. And so I know that for me that was PlayStation 3.
I think I played some on one and some on the other.
Okay.
And just based on like what was like, this was back in the days of like Black Friday sales at Circuit City and things where like, oh sweet, Fable 2 is only like $10. All right, sweet, I'm buying Fable 2. At first, this is where I dipped my toes in the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Okay. Which I never got into. I don't think I've ever played an Assassin's Creed game.
My wife loves the Assassin's Creed series. It's like one of her favorite video game franchises. And she still to this day plays every Assassin's Creed release. And this was one where she didn't play the earlier incarnations and tried to go back and play some of these on like the PlayStation Now. And they're rough,
Gotcha.
But it was cool at the time, and the story was interesting enough. play obviously a lot of the sports games and stuff like that, but love me some Force Unleashed was a lot of fun.
Yes. Yeah, Force Unleashed was good.
We played a lot of Guitar Hero. And
then Rock Band.
Rock Band, and then so the Guitar Hero first, and then the Rock Band, and we played just a ton of that. And
I remember you would come up to visit, and we would do Rock Band just like all night long.
All night long. There was a trophy for like beating every single song on an instrument with like an A or something like that. Some ridiculous, and you had to play for like the whole playlist straight.
I remember that one. Yeah.
And I started in a group of people, and we're just going for it. And then by the end, it was just me and my wife, and it was just you could pick your instrument. We're just vocal, and it was like an 8-hour marathon of like Rock Band. It was crazy, but there's little moments like that where you're like, okay, maybe there's a compatibility here where we're willing to sit in a room and play this game for this long, and it was, and we did it. It was fun.
Yeah. So the Xbox 360 kind of introduced the trophies, which kind of opened up a whole new level, whole new side of gaming. Hey, it's not just about beating the game, but now do all this extra stuff and get a trophy or get an achievement, or whichever console you're playing on, which has stuck around, which I've enjoyed.
I think that was probably one of my wife is all about the platinum trophies on PlayStation. And so like that has been something that just was a neat, like little extra carrot to dangle. And certainly I got into those on Xbox, but like her drive for those trophies on the PlayStation was a big part of our gaming on the PlayStation, for sure. Okay. So I'm going to introduce you to the exciting world of one of the worst games to watch another human being play unless you're like somehow into it.
Okay.
Which is the MLB Front Office Manager.
Oh, jeez.
You do not play baseball. You don't play it.
You manage it.
You just manage it. It's like a fantasy team, and it's just the front office. And
that's all that it was in the game.
That's all that it was, and it was the greatest game, and I just loved it. I can't even explain it. I don't want to explain it. If you've never heard of the game, just look it up. But you sim the games as Sims would go, and you just kind of like, and you're just an owner, or you're kind of, and you just. There's a baseball series called Out of the Park that I play. I played a ton of on the iPad, and then also on my computer. It's not a console game, but same idea where you're kind of just, you draft players, and then you're developing them, and you're making trades, and then you're simming your season and making moves. I loved those games. So fun. And I will now, it's not the nerdiest game that I've ever played. Maybe we'll talk about that somewhere down the road, but it's up there. It's good stuff.
Now, you see, the wrestling games, the modern wrestling games, have a feature called GM mode, where you manage the shows, you manage the feuds, you manage all this stuff. It's really fun. But it's like an added feature. It's like a different like part of the game on top of the wrestling in the game.
Yeah.
So if they just had like a GM mode as its own game.
Yeah, that's kind of what it would be like.
I would think.
I still every now and then I'll type in the internet, see if there's a sequel being made. Like, is there a second one? Like
if there was MLB The Show, and then from the menu you can push manager mode.
You can, but it's not the same. It's not as in depth. Like there are like you can be an owner or a manager in MLB The Show, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. And I don't want to bore people more than I already have talking about it. We don't need to spend any more time on it, but it is the nerdiest, most fun game. I played it obsessively and got every possible trophy on it and won the World Series with like every club. It was Anyway, Left 4 Dead was a less nerdy game that I really liked. That was a fun. Left 4 Dead 2 was really fun too.
Okay, so the 360 was my introduction to one of my favorite franchises ever.
Show him the tattoo, bro.
Mass Effect.
Hey, you got the right arm. Good job.
I did. Yeah, Mass Effect 1 was an Xbox exclusive for a long time, and I didn't play it right away. I believe you actually got it from Dan. You were like visiting him, and you sent me a text, and you're like, "Hey, are there any games that you want? I can get them really cheap." And I was like, I've heard good things about this Mass Effect game, and it's from BioWare, so it's Knights of the Old Republic. What was the other one? You mentioned it.
Jade Empire.
Jade Empire. Knights of the Old Republic and Jade Empire. And so I was like, and it's in space. Like, I'd like to try this. And then I got it and I played it for a bit and I'm like, it's fine. And then I got to like this side mission where I just couldn't do it. I had to like get in and shoot this guy and I couldn't do it. I tried over and over and over. And then I don't know what it was. It was just like something went off. And like, I beat the guy and I was like, oh my goodness, something just clicked for me in this game. And I was sucked in and I was in it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is one of the greatest games I've ever played in my life. And it was crafting weapons. And I would spend like hours just like crafting these pieces of weapons together, and I loved the story. Like the story is so good. And the thing was that the decisions that you made in the first game, they had said, well, we're going to make more games. And so if you make a decision in the first game, it's going to carry over to the second game and future games. And so I was like, that's amazing. Like, how do, and you mean if I let this character die, it's not going to be there for the rest of the game and is going to change future games? And like, I was like, oh, I need this. I need more of this. And like, I was so into it. And then Mass Effect 2 came out and I had to play that, and that was amazing. And then Mass Effect 3 came out and that was great. And even when Mass Effect 3 came out, I had already essentially moved over to PlayStation 3. I had bought it. I was really enjoying all of the PlayStation 3 exclusives, but I was like, but all of my save data and all of my decisions are on the Xbox, so I have to buy it for Xbox.
Yeah.
And yeah, so 360 like opened me up to the Mass Effect, which are just, oh man, like so high up there on favorite franchises.
Yeah.
So.
And the only one there's never been a game that I started and then restarted more than Mass Effect. And
because I wouldn't shut up about it. I'm like, Charlie, you got to play this game. You have to play this game, Charlie.
And I would start it and I get into it. And but the idea of the choices having consequences for future games, super great concept, really bad for people with like anxiety issues. Because it's like I feel like, oh, okay, got to play this perfectly, and any little thing that like seemed like it was going wrong, it was like I got to start over because I'm gonna need to play the sequels, and I can't. So I would just shut down. I'd be like, okay, well, I'll come back to this later. I'm gonna play some other things, and then I revisit, and I'm like, oh man, I don't remember. I got to start over.
Oh,
and so then I start. So I got like in this loop of like starting that game and getting to like a certain point, and then feeling like I'd messed something up, and I didn't want that to carry to the master. So it just was not a game that I ever finished. And you love it so much. It makes me want to play it. But even now I'm like, it's too late. Well, I feel like I missed it.
No,
I can't do
it. Charlie, they're coming out with the remastered of the whole trilogy for new consoles. So I'll try. The opportunity's not gone, Charlie. It's still so good. I want to play it again. And I mean, I spent 55 hours on the first one, 65 hours on the second one, and 85 hours on the third one. And then when Andromeda came out, which was number 4, but was kind of a separate story. I spent like 130 hours on that.
Oh, wow.
And I
don't have that time anymore. I can't do 130 hours.
You don't, but the thing is, you don't have to. Is like you can go through the story. I'm also a completionist, and so I'm like, I want to do every side mission. I want to do every side mission.
I want to do that too. Come on, you can't. I gotta platinum it. I gotta do every side mission. I gotta do get all the collectibles.
Well, remasters are coming out, Charlie. So your opportunity is there.
Okay. Like I loved the Halo 3. This is my first venture into online gaming. Just I'd have 4 people over, and we would just go online, and we would just get sniped, no scope snipe by like 10-year-olds or whatever. Like the game would end, and we had the stupid little earpiece microphones, and you'd hear some high-pitched voice going on. I shot you right in your dumb old man face. It's like some 12-year-old, and they're using language that's not appropriate for 10 to 12-year-olds. They're teabagging you in the game, going up and down. My buddy Chris would, the 4 of us would play, and we were in a band together, and we would have band practice, and we'd just go play Halo. And he would just throw sticky grenades on me. I'd be like running into a room to fight, and he'd throw a sticky grenade on my back, so I go in there and blow up, and so he would get credit for all the kills. Betrayal. And he was like a betrayal king, so he would always like get in these online arguments with like people because they'd be mad at him because he would inevitably throw grenades and kill his teammates. It was the rebirth of like that social gaming for me. Is really fun. We'd have these big Halo nights, big Halo parties, and we would all get together and play. That was a really fun period of time. That and the Rock Band were like really like just, hey, people come over and we'll all kind of like take turns, rotate, we'll play out of this. That was really fun games.
And so with the 360, there was also the PS3. Now you had both, and I had both. I got PlayStation 3 because I wanted the Batman Arkham DLC that was exclusive to the PS3, so I had to buy it. I also wanted other things. I wanted Uncharted. I wanted things like that. So why did you also get the PS3?
MLB The Show. MLB The Show. It was the baseball exclusive that when I was a kid, there was someone in my like 5th grade class that was like, my dad designs video games. Do you have any ideas for video games? And I was like, a baseball game, but where you like follow the guy around. He has like a career and it's like and a life outside. And he like eats food and like does things. I had like this great idea. And MLB The Show is like the closest. Like I wanted an RPG video game from a very young age. I didn't want to just play. I want to play the baseball, but then I also want to like go out and like do things and like, how much sleep did you get? It's going to affect the game tomorrow and your stats, and you make lifestyle choices. And should I hit the gym or should I eat this pizza?
Is that what MLB The Show is?
No, it's not. It's not. Oh. But it was the closest thing to it. Okay. You had like Road to the Show mode. See, you play that. That's a cool game.
Yeah.
Road to the Show was really fun. I'd make a Charlie and then go through the minor leagues and and the gameplay was phenomenal. It's the best baseball. Look, I used to buy every year, and really it's like kind of like a roster update, and then some years there'd be like a big jump in some of the features or things like that. Nowadays, maybe every few years I'll buy the new version. I'm not as obsessive about it anymore. But I loved MLB The Show. And then the Uncharted series was phenomenal. Little Big Planet was a lot of fun. I played the Infamous series is really cool.
Yes.
There's a lot of games that I played. God of War's, I kind of dabbled with that a little bit. Do you have a big?
I didn't. I think I played the demo. It was back when I was married, but before we had kids, and so my wife would actually enjoy watching me play video games, which she still does. It's just but she would watch, and she watched the demo, and it was so bloody that she was like, I don't want to watch this. And it kind of took the fun out, because I'm like, well, I know that there's like, she would sit and ask me, she's like, will you play Mass Effect? And I'm like, yes.
Okay.
But if I turn on a game where she's like, I'm going to go in the other room, I'm like, well, that's not as much fun. So I never got into the God of War stuff.
So PlayStation 3 is my first Minecraft experience. So that's where I got my first version of Minecraft. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I just played Minecraft
it was also
for the first
on Xbox
time this year.
Oh, you
man.
You missed out. The Last of Us is one of the greatest video games of all time.
I never played it.
It is gut-wrenching. And the sequel, worse. It'll rip your insides out. Play it. It's really good.
Zombie game. Wasn't it a scary game? I'm really bad at scary games. Charlie, I'm so bad at scary games.
No, it's not like
I get
a horror game.
It's like zombies that are chasing you and trying to eat you. I can't do that. Right. I get too scared. Right, you know what? I get too scared, Charlie.
In the comments below, help me convince Brody to play The Last of Us. And it's not scarier than Ferris wheels. And you overcame that for a girl. You can overcome your zombie fear and play this game for me. Just try it. It's on PS Now. Just put it on. Give it a shot. If it gets too scary, just turn it off. I
think I played the demo. He was carrying a little girl and zombies were chasing him. And I was like, I don't think I need to play this.
The Telltale games also very cool. The Walking Dead Telltale games.
I like the Telltale games. I played the Wolf Among Us because I read all the Fables books.
So good. That one's a great game.
I have the Batman one. I just haven't played it.
Fair enough. Any PS3 games that were Red Dead Redemption. Oh, and Grand Theft Auto 4.
Yes, Grand Theft Auto 4. That was a series that we haven't touched on yet. You and I played the heck out of Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yes,
I believe that was original Xbox as well.
Yeah,
we played so much of that game. My goodness.
Yeah, it was really like just so different than everything else.
And you had the 80s music. Oh, it was great. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto 4 was really good. I never finished it. I think I eventually bought like a strategy guide for it. And apparently I left off on like the second to last mission.
That game was hard as a completionist. That was really hard because it's such a big game.
And I was like, almost done with this game. But at that point, I was so far past it. I was like, I don't know. I couldn't go back now and go into like the second to last mission. That was super hard when I was really into it. It was just, I was like, and I can't start it over. Are you kidding me? I don't know.
Yeah. I'd say that was the game. I think maybe about halfway through of me playing it, I just got really sick of like, why do you have to just drive back and forth across the whole map? And then I realized you could just take taxis, which I'd never done because I didn't want to spend money. So I was like, I'll just take this taxi, I guess. And it was like so fast. I was like, oh gosh, I've wasted so much time driving, but the driving was so fun. But it was, that was a big game changer for me. A very stupid thing that I had not been doing. Yep. That was one of my most embarrassing gaming moments. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I should have been doing this all along.
So the
Fez, did you play Fez? Fez was so good.
No, I never played Fez.
All right.
I played Braid. Braid was I think I actually played that on 360. Yes. But I think it was on both platforms. That's one that stood out as like one of the downloadable ones that I was like, wow, this is like a really good game for just like, I didn't buy a disc or anything. I just like,
there were some really cool indie games.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into like the Ratchet and Clank series? Or
I didn't. No, I didn't.
They're fun. That was cute.
I know my big ones for the PS3 were the Batman games, the Uncharted games, the Infamous games. I know I played a bunch. I've got them in my loft, but yeah. So,
what about the Wii? So did you
own
a Wii?
So the Wii. So yeah, I did. Not right away because they were very hard to find for a long time. I remember playing with you when we went down to visit, and you and I played the Wii, and I was kind of on the fence. I'm like, I don't know. And then you and I played, and I'm like, okay, I guess I should get this. And I did buy it, and there was some fun games, but all of the motion stuff, I was like, I don't really want to do all of the motion stuff. I played the Mario game, but I was
Mario
like,
Galaxy?
Yeah. But I was like, I don't think I want to own this because I don't like all the moving stuff. But then I hear how great Galaxy is, and I'm like, oh man, if I could download that on the Switch and play it with my Pro controller, then I'd like to play that. Can you?
You can just buy it. There's a it's part we can talk about it later, but there's like a pack where it has like the Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy.
Oh, that's the one that just came out, right?
Yeah,
like the 35th anniversary or whatever.
Yeah.
So I did some.
So you had it, but you begrudgingly played it and hated the whole experience.
I did like Boom Blocks. We did the tennis, and
did you get like the Wii Fit?
No, I never did the Wii Fit. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. There was Mario Kart.
Did you put the Paper Mario for the 64? It was pretty fun, or for the Wii, excuse me.
See, I never did that.
That was good.
So it was kind of the, hey, people are going to come over, so here's something fun we can do. But if I'm just sitting there playing, then I'll play my 360 or my PS3.
Yeah, I did not buy any of like the cross-platform games for the Wii.
No,
it was never like, oh, I got to get that. But yeah, you're right. It was a little bit more gimmicky, and so I mean, it was fun. It was cool. Like the things that it did, none of the consoles did. So it was the Mario Party. I like the Mario parties on there, and I thought Mario Galaxy was really good. Like the Paper Mario, we had the Wii Fit. I don't know. It was all right. There was Zumba Fitness. Come on, Zumba Fitness.
I don't know. I did a lot of Mario Kart. That was the biggest thing, was Mario Kart for my Wii.
Let's skip ahead then, because I think probably that's the console that we both owned that we played the least.
Probably. And then I ended up just skipping the Wii U.
Me too.
I saw it and I was like, I don't want that. Because at that point I was onto the PS4. And I was kind of like, I'm bummed to miss out on a Mario. I'm bummed to miss out on a Zelda, but I don't want to play with these controllers that they're putting out. So I just skipped them.
I didn't get the Xbox One, and I don't believe you did either. Is that correct?
I did not. At that, I was really satisfied with my PlayStation 3 experience, and I really liked the games that were exclusive. As much as I am not huge on the exclusivity, console stuff, the stuff that Sony is making and the exclusive games that are for Sony, I really liked. It almost seems like Xbox has taken more of the social, like, party kind of games where you can get like the big Halos and stuff like that. And I'm not a big social gamer. I'm not doing a bunch of the multiplayer stuff. And that's just, I really like the single player. And so when you get into the PlayStation 4, when you have the Uncharted's, when you have the Batmans and the Spider-Mans and things like that, those are the games that I am like, that's what I really want to play.
There was some, I don't know how many of these games we actually want to talk about, just because the PlayStation 4, we're still playing. PS5 is coming out this year. So instead, I'll ask you, what do you think of the casting for the Uncharted film?
It's fine. I like Tom Holland.
That's it? That's your reaction?
I like Tom Holland. I do love Tom Holland.
You like him now? Oh, now you just like him?
I love him.
It's too late, Brody.
It's
you. Okay. So he's like a Sonic game, is what he is to you.
No, come on now. It is interesting. So Nathan Drake, to me, has always been older. He's always been more of a late 30s type guy, you know, with sure. Sully being like probably like in his 50s or so. So Tom Holland is interesting, and I know that they're going for a younger casting. You know, he's in his like early 20s. I don't even know how old he is. I'm guessing early 20s. So it's interesting, but it's cool. I know that he can move around and he can do all the jumpy, climby, flippy stuff that Nathan Drake does in the games. So that's fine. And I like Tom Holland. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad they're finally making one. I hope it's going to be good.
I agree with everything essentially that you're saying.
Okay.
Right? Like I always thought of Nathan Fillion as being, you know, the starring, the titular role in that film, because he always just kind of looked like, and then at one point for one of the, I can't remember if it was 3, he started to look a little bit more like Jeremy Renner for some reason. But which thank goodness they didn't cast Renner. I mean, can you imagine? But like the only reason I'm look, I think Tom Holland's great, and I really enjoy the Spider-Man stuff. But like you got to cast someone a little bit younger because you want to have a franchise.
Sure.
You cast like a 40-year-old, and then you know every couple of years you make one.
Yeah.
Then I mean, can you imagine an action star and is like 50 still doing impossible missions? They should have had Tom Cruise be Nathan Drake. Come on.
He probably could have done it. Honestly.
Yeah, there was a time.
He probably could have done it, and he probably could have done like 6 more afterwards.
Yeah. Like I'm sure there. If I spent time thinking about it, there are people that might be more suited for the role, but I think it'll be fun. I don't know, but anyway, now we're talking about movies. So, however, Mark Wahlberg as Sully with that mustache.
Wasn't Mark Wahlberg cast as Nathan Drake a couple years ago?
Gosh, you know what? I have an alert set up on my phone specifically designed to block any and all Mark Wahlberg news.
Oh, come now.
So if something happens with Mark Wahlberg, I am guaranteed not to know about it. And I only found this out because I have the Tom Holland filter set to on. So then it's like, oh, okay, great. Tom Holland's in the movie. And then I had, Mark Wahlberg. And look, Mark, if you're listening to this, I mean, come on, Entourage, you deserve it. You deserve every bit of my disdain.
So anyways, PlayStation 4. Okay, so yeah, PlayStation 4. Now, along with the PlayStation 4, we both jumped on the VR train.
Yeah.
How are you liking virtual reality, Charlie?
It's pretty cool, and I think that is one of the more fun things to do with other people. I maybe even more so than me playing it. I think my favorite thing with the VR is having other people experience it for the first time, and then filming it, especially like if it's like a scary game. I got a couple of like little like Resident Evil or some
your bucket of blood one.
Yeah, there's some fun ones. Until Dawn has a VR one, like roller coaster. Anyway, but that's pretty fun. It's a little less convenient. Like if I just have like my gaming time is now more like sparsely dispersed throughout my week. So it's a little bit of a harder one to just say, I got like 30 minutes. Why don't I break out the old VR helmet and give it a run? So I don't probably use it as much as I would like to.
Okay.
But like there are some great games, and you are more of a connoisseur. So why don't you tell the people the best VR games? Tell the people, bro.
Well, I played it first at your house. You know, and the big thing that I wanted to try was the Batman game. I was like, so cool. I was like, I need to try a virtual reality Batman game, and I played it, and it's great. Pretty short. It's great. It's like bust through that whole thing in like 45 minutes.
But fun, short but fun.
And so I played at your house, and I'm like, okay, I got to get this thing. I need to see what else this can do. And so I picked up a bundle. I got the Batman game. I got Super Hot. I got Creed, the boxing game. I got Astrobot. And let me tell you, Astrobot turned out to be one of like the best VR games I've played. I mean, even not even just like a VR game, like it's just a fun game to play. I keep telling you to play it. Have you played it yet?
So you were saying, so what are some of the other games that you
play Astrobot, Charlie?
I haven't played it yet.
Play it. My goodness.
All right.
So Astrobot is amazing. That's one that like my kids would be like, so it's all platforming. You got a little robot. You're going through levels. You're finding things. You fight big bosses. And my kids loved it. And it's one that I actually felt comfortable like playing with the kids, which some games I'm like, ooh, I can't play that with you. But we went through and we platinumed it. We did everything that there could do. And sometimes they're still like, Daddy, can you play Astrobot? I'm like, guys, there's nothing left to do. And they're like, can you start over? And I'm like, with my backlog of games, no, sorry. But Astrobot is super good. What's the other one? Blood and Truth was really fun. Not one to play with the kids, but really fun. Like you're in an action movie. You're running and shooting and causing explosions and upgrading guns. And that one has been a lot of fun.
That one's not too scary for you?
No.
Is it the one where it's like all pixelated people and stuff?
No, that's Super Hot. And that's the fun, like shooter puzzly type almost. Yeah. There's also the Tetris, which is really, really cool. Where you're playing Tetris, but it just has stuff like all around you. And so there's particles and the music is really neat and things like that. And so
that's cool. We just tried the Minecraft VR. That was fun.
I wouldn't
want to play the whole game that way. It'd get a little dizzy.
I haven't
and it's not
done
motion
that yet.
controlled, which is, if I could mine with my controller or something, I think that might be more entertaining. But
sounds tiring.
I don't know. Yeah, I did like the Battlefront, where you get to fly the X-wing.
Yeah,
like in the VR, and keep talking and no one explodes or nobody explodes.
Yes.
I think that one's really
fun.
Yeah,
I played that with you and then ended up buying that myself, and we've played that with friends and things like that.
Yeah, it's a fun little party, small party game.
Yeah, totally. There's the Iron Man game, which I played the demo, and I'm just waiting for that to kind of drop in price a little bit so I can pick that up. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. And then the new Star Wars Squadron game. That's they use the demo kind of thing from the Battlefront, and kind of turn that into a full game. And so I'm really looking forward to that, because again, that's Star Wars and it's flying and it's VR. And so I'm like, wow, yeah, I gotta get that. I heard it's kind of complicated. It's like really involved, where you're having to maintain like your engines and stuff like that. So, but sounds cool.
I just realized I forgot to mention Kingdom Hearts for the PlayStation 3. And we recently just bought the new Kingdom Hearts, and that was a really fun franchise.
You like that one?
I did.
So I played.
You dated a girl once who loved that.
I did, and I played it with her some. It's gone on sale, like the all-in-one thing where you get Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and then 3, and it drops down to like $30. And so I've often thought, every time it goes on sale, I'm like, I should buy that. I think my kids would like that. But I just haven't done it yet.
I thought my kids would. And the first, I could try to show them the first one, and it's just not as good as like the later. Just skip the first. Really? Look, for you, play it. There's nostalgia involved, but some of the gameplay stuff, I don't know how picky your kids are about the game controls. My kids thought it was okay, it's fine, but but the game controls weren't great, and they're kind of so they just lost interest in it pretty quickly.
Okay.
like the graphics were like, it's kind of, like and they didn't give themselves time to be fully immersed in the universe. There's some like long, like racing sequences on the island and like just kind of like repetitive talking sequences and, kind of like some mundane tasks of gathering stuff. And the battling's a little less intuitive than what they're accustomed to. So it just didn't kind of grab them the way that I thought it would. Like, oh, you guys are going to love this. It's a mix of Disney and all these other, and they're just kind of like, meh. So they're probably just the wrong age for it, but you're not. So you get in there, bro, and you make it happen.
Sure.
But when you do, just start one game and go. Right now we have 4 different save games on the first one. So we're never going to finish it. Because both my older boys and my wife and I each have our own game, and so everyone makes a little bit of progress from time to time. So it's just never, it's never gonna happen.
Gotcha.
Anyway, but yeah. So do you want to do instead of talking about all our favorite games for PS4, because I feel like I've got way too many to list. What are the last 5 you've played?
Oh my goodness!
Like on your little scroller, what are the last 5 going to be? Most recent.
Injustice 2, which I enjoy, just the fighting game. I don't know. Minecraft, because my kids play it. Disney Infinity, because my kids play it.
Good.
Like what were the last ones that I played? What did I feel like I finished a game recently. I don't know. That's tough.
All right.
Tough to remember.
A bad question. I apologize.
I've been really into the Switch because I got the Switch just last Christmas. And so it's been like Mario and Zelda for the past year.
That's fair. Yeah. We've been playing a lot of Minecraft. I've been playing some Fall Guys with the kids.
I played a little bit of that,
and then I've been playing Madden because it's football season, so I'm playing some Madden, and the wife's playing her Assassin's Creeds, so she's working her way through trying to knock off the one she hasn't finished yet, so she can get the newest one coming out.
I am still going through Spider-Man. I finished the main story, but I'm just going through the DLC. So,
do we want to talk? You want to switch up to the Switch, or do you want to keep talking? You want to talk some more games? I know we didn't really talk a lot of PS4 games. Is there anything you want to? The Uncharted's are amazing.
Uncharted's amazing. I haven't started Uncharted 4. I've owned it since I bought it, and I haven't.
Oh, it's really good. You gotta play it. Play it, B.
I know.
Move it to the top of the queue.
I keep saying I will. And
do it. Just do it. But do it. Anyway, so there's a ton of games. But hit us up below. Hit us with your favorites. We're running long. Let's get to the Switch.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot. They keep giving me more every month. So Switch. I am newer to the Switch. Really enjoying that. Wasn't sure if I would. I was like, do I get it? I don't know. But wanted Mario, wanted Zelda. Those were honestly the big ones. Mario Kart is always good. Smash Brothers. I have never really gotten into Smash Brothers, but it's really fun.
It's fun.
So we're
gonna buy the Minecraft DLC for my son's birthday coming up in November, so we can play as Steve in the Smash Bros. Universe.
Nice.
That'll be a lot of fun. So the Mario Maker's a lot of fun. The kids play that a lot.
Okay.
They've kind of taken over the Switch. Like they've kind of claimed that as their so like I'll put my cartridge in. I'll play my nerdy Pokemon games. Play a little Sword and Shield or Pokemon Let's Go or something. And then it'll be gone. Like the kids will just sneak the Switch out and put some different game in, and they're playing Mario Maker. They're playing the Mario World, or there's a bunch of different. The Zelda game was so good.
Yeah,
Odyssey was a lot of fun.
Odyssey was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Odyssey. Spent a lot of time on Odyssey. I didn't get all of the moons. I did finish the game. and I was like, I got to get all the moons. And then I was like,
got to get all the moons.
I was like, but I also have Zelda like just waiting for me on that shelf. There's a lot of moons. There's a lot of moons.
There are a lot of moons.
So many moons.
So many moons.
I spent, when I went to like the first world, I was like, okay, I'm going to get all the moons. And then and then it wasn't until I like started looking things up, because I was like, how do I get some of this stuff that it's like some of this stuff you can't get until after you've beaten the game. And I was like, okay. Well, that changes the way I play this game some. So, but yeah, so I'm enjoying the Switch. I just signed up for like the Mario, for like their online thing, so it gives access to all of these old NES and SNES games, which is neat. So I, going through all this stuff that we just talked about, I can now go play a lot of those, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. Amy really loved Animal Crossing. Hit like when the pandemic hit, and she went all in on that and played a ton of that, and has not touched it at all recently because she made the mistake of like looking at other people's islands and she's like, that'll never be good enough. So the game got put away. Now she's back to killing people on Assassin's Creed. So
there you go.
But yeah, I just think the concept of the Switch I think is so cool, and I'm really excited for the PlayStation 5, but I do think like the Switch is more representative, I think, of what the future of gaming is going to be like. Just like the convenience of being able to switch from the handheld to the television, and being able to set it up with a kickstand, and being able to use the controllers with it. I think there's, it's far from like the perfect console, but like I just think like conceptually, I think it's really neat. I'm really excited to see like 10 years from now what this is all going to look like. Yeah. I think there's just I think VR is such an undertapped resource, like in general. I think especially, we talked about this a little bit with like the streaming versus movie theaters. I just think so much of how we consume media is going to become like VR stuff, like going to like a concert, for instance, right? Like great. Or you could put on your VR headset and then control like which side of the stage you're looking at. And so it's like a live concert that you're there like virtually, or even like a recorded concert that you get to experience virtually. And so it's like, I want to see what the bass player is doing, and being able to like just look at the bass player and see, that's cool. Or let me watch the drummer a little bit more close, or let me get a different angle. Or let me go to this art museum in France. And, I just think there's so much really neat stuff that's going to come down the pike for VR. I really hope that the PlayStation sticks with it, because I don't want to buy the Oculus, and I don't want. I know like there's been some things that just got kind of forgotten, like the Vita, which I loved, the Vita, the little handheld Vita, and then they're just kind of like, we're not gonna do anything with that anymore, anyway. But I love the Switch. I think it's really neat, and I am excited for the PS5. You're gonna wait, right? You're a waiter.
Yeah. I usually wait about 2 years. I wait for like the redesign and the price drop, and then I'm in.
Yeah, you're very smart. I will not wait. So I will be probably diving in at the end of the year. So if I can get one, and who knows, the supply, if I can score one, then maybe we'll do some streaming of that. I will show you all the PS5, and I am so excited for the Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Man game.
Yeah. I know. And I'll get there. I still have such a backlog of PS4 games to play. I just
skip them. Except for Uncharted 4. Do Uncharted 4. I don't want to skip them. Start Uncharted 4.
I bought games.
Skip everything else.
I bought Uncharted 4. I gotta play it.
Play Last of Us and play Uncharted 4.
Oh my goodness. You're killing
me. Play Last of Us and then play Last of Us 2 and then Uncharted 4.
It's too scary.
I'll play Astrobot. You play The Last of Us.
Whatever. You play all 3 Mass Effects, and maybe I'll think about it.
All 3?
Yes,
oh,
Charlie. Man. It's one story.
Ship them to me. Because they're not on PlayStation Now like Last of Us. I can't just go on there and play Mass Effect.
I don't have PlayStation Now.
Hey, well, but you buy it for a month and play some games. It's like it's a reasonable subscription price.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
All right. Well, there is our little history.
Maybe we need to break this into 2 parts.
I say little. That's
this is a long
over
episode.
2 hours.
Yeah.
So that's our stroll down video game history lane, console. Just highlighting some of the things that we loved about each of the consoles that we grew up with, that we shared together, that we've done separately. And just how it's fun to think back on how many stages of life, and where we were and what games we were playing at various times in our lives. So it's fun. It's fun. And I look forward to all of the future experiences we get to have with video games.
Agreed.
Because video games are great.
They are great. Well said. Well, don't forget to like and let us know which games are your favorite from the various consoles that you have played and owned, especially some of the new ones, because I know we kind of breezed through those last few. Drop some recs in there. Make sure you tell Brody to play The Last of Us. Make sure you get him on that Uncharted 4, and remind him that we don't have to play all 3 Mass Effects because they're incredibly long, but he does need to play these games that we're recommending. That is fair. Fair is fair. Maybe I do need to play Mass Effect. Light me up in the comments. And let's do this again real soon. What do you think, bro? Maybe you'll have power next time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we get enough likes, Brody will get the power turned back on in his apartment. Or house, excuse me. Home.
It's like
home
apartment. I live in an
apartment. All right. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. On behalf of
Brody, I'm Charlie. Keep playing.
See you later.
Tapping. Tap.
Adios.